Okay, gang, in an effort to be coachable, I'm going to take some advice from my wife and try and speed this up a little bit. I was going to tell a story about my second tour in Iraq and give some basics on that, but I think I want to go back and tell a story. This is actually going to be basically a war story. So, before we left Kuwait to go into Iraq in 2003, we did get one or two mail drops. And one of the drops that we got, I got a Bible from my Aunt Kathy. And this is the Bible that she sent me right here. It's a New Testament, actually. And I was raised Catholic, decided to not get confirmed, kind of fell away from the church there, did the born again Christian kind of deal, freshman year of high school, and then after a couple years, got disillusioned with it, fell away again, and so I've always believed, I always had a relationship with God, but I've really have not known much, like never did much time reading the Bible, but nonetheless, I know that there's power in here, so I grabbed it when it was given to me, and when the time came for us to cross into Iraq, I took the Bible, I put it in my left breast pocket in my uniform, and it stayed there with me. And I actually did 3 tours with this Bible in my left breast pocket, and my 3 tours in Iraq. So I am going to speed it up towards about 2.5 weeks in. We had some fairly intense combat, and then some relatively mild interactions, and about 2.5 weeks in, we were closing in on Baghdad. And what we noticed was, as we collapsed in, and what we kept hearing over the radio and intel kept reporting, was that the closer we got into Baghdad, like if we had loose resistance in certain pockets, it's because they kept falling back. The Iraqi defense would keep falling back and just getting to the point where they were an impenetrable force surrounding Baghdad. So we are coming up, my column, India 3-4, we're coming up to what's called the Diyala River. And there's a little town just short of there. And as we're approaching this town from south to north, we went through this old abandoned military complex. It was just super bizarre. Anti-aircraft guns just abandoned, artillery pieces abandoned. It was just really eerie and bizarre. And we held up there for a little while before we pushed into the town that reached that river, the Diyala River, which is a offshoot of the Tigris. And I just had this really bad feeling, and I can't really explain it. Like, we had seen some combat, and like I went through all different phases of it. Sometimes it was, I just operated as if it was training, and we responded. Other times I was almost paralyzed. Sometimes it was like I was almost stupid without fear, like doing things that didn't even make sense, like standing out in the open and shooting instead of getting cover that was right next to me. It was just like a lot of learning that went on. I was very fortunate. So I had this really eerie feeling going into the city, or a little town outside of Baghdad. And I just said, God, I need something. I am scared, and I don't know what exactly we're heading into here, but I need something. I need something to hold on to. And even that, although I've always felt a very close relationship with God, I just couldn't quite hear his voice. I needed something more concrete. And so I pulled the Bible out of my pocket. I found a little quiet time, a little quiet space away, and I just held it. And I said, Lord, I don't know what's in here, but I need something, and I need it desperately to hold on to. And so I just basically went like this and opened it, closed my eyes, and just opened it. And the first thing I looked down at is look, it just happened right here. The first thing I looked down at, it's Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10, and the title, you probably won't be able to see this. Maybe you can. The armor of God. I look down and I see the armor of God. I was like, oh. And so I'll read it. Finally, Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. Stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the saints. And I was like, okay. So I took the little marker here, put it down there, closed the Bible, put it back in my pocket, and I was like, good to go. That should do it. It gave me what I needed. And then what's funny is, as we then started marching in the city, all hell broke loose. Our column of tracks, things just went off. And small arms fire, RPGs flying over our heads. My fire support team, we got up, blasted up ahead, tucked in behind a building, got out, moved this ladder around to the side of the building that was we were under fire as we were trying to get this ladder on the side, climbed up to the roof so that we could get observation on everything, and started, myself and the mortar FO started working up, that's the scout observer for mortars, we started working up targeting data for this little one block ahead of us, straight down where we were looking. We were all hunkered down on a rooftop, and it had this 1 foot tall little, it was a 1-story building, 1 foot tall wall, and it's all kind of mud hutted. And then the entire country was built up with sandbags and everything. Saddam thought everybody would grab a rifle and defend. And so we had this little sandbag area on one side of us. And as we're up there, once we got up to this rooftop, RPGs are just flying over our heads, and impacting or detonating in the air, maybe 30, 40 feet beyond, flying across and over our heads. We're trying to work up this firing data. We're engaging some of the people that the Iraqis that were firing us out of the windows and out of a minaret, which is a whatever. And as we're shooting and trying to work up this firing solution, all of a sudden there's this huge bang, and my head just stopped working, and I was laying on the floor, on the rooftop, and all this debris had smacked into my face, and all I heard was this, and I was sitting there eyes closed, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we just got hit with an RPG, and I was terrified to even wiggle my toes, because I'm I don't want to find out that I don't have legs right now, and I didn't want to open my eyes because I didn't want to see Bardo, my radio operator, or Corporal Stanley, the mortar FO, or the other guys I was up there with, blown to bits, and I was slowly open my eyes, and I see that everybody else is kind of and shouting back and forth, but I can't hear anything. And I look back, and they're shouting. Somebody's kind of on a knee shouting at someone over my shoulder. And I turn and I look, and our scout sniper had set up his 50 caliber sniper rifle with the muzzle of a few inches behind where our ears were at. So he had taken a shot at one of the guys in the buildings, but the muzzle was behind her ears, and that's just it's getting punched in the side of the face, full bore. It's someone hitting you with the side of the face with a brick. and like someone's chewing him out. My ears are still ringing. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and we're still in the middle of trying to work up like a call for fire for some mortars on this. It's about 150 to 200 meters out in front of us. We're going to try and call in some mortars to this area where we were taking fire from, and this. They're chewing him out because of where he took the shot from, and this guy who, and this was just personally, this guy lost it. This is nothing on Scout Snipers. I love my Scout Snipers. They are second to none. But this individual dude couldn't. He kind of snapped a little bit because he had a buddy of his that got shot in the hip the day before. I don't remember if he got killed or not, but he had a young kid at home, and I think he had just been at this point where he like had too much, and he got back in the fight a few days later. But he ends up standing up on the rooftop,